Today, we're diving into something we all understand, whether we know it or not: visual narratives. It's the art of telling a story without saying a word, a skill our ancestors pretty much perfected ages before anyone even thought about writing things down. Okay, so let's jump right in with a big question. What on earth could connect a 30,000-year-old painting of a hunt on a cave wall to a slick sales report you'd see in a meeting today? Well, believe it or not, there's a straight line between them. It's all about our fundamental need to tell a story. So first things first, what exactly is a visual narrative? It's a language we're all fluent in, even if we don't have a name for it. It's totally universal. Here's the textbook definition, but really, it's pretty simple. It's not just a single picture. It's a series of images, right? And they're arranged in a very specific way to tell a story. The key things to hang on to here are sequence and composition. It's all about how pictures flow from one to the next to build a narrative right inside our heads. And just like any story you'd read or any movie you'd watch, these visual stories have the exact same core building blocks. You've got to have a character, who's this about? You need a setting, where is this all going down? A plot, what's actually happening? Then you need a conflict, because that's what makes it interesting. And finally, a theme, the big idea, the so what of it all. All of that can be shown, not told. All right, let's go on a bit of a journey back in time. To really get how powerful this is, you gotta see where it all started. This isn't some newfangled invention. It's baked into our DNA. This timeline basically tells a story about storytelling itself. I mean, think about it. We kicked things off 30,000 years ago with cave paintings, humanity's first shot at saying, hey, this thing happened. Then, bam, we jump forward to Egyptian hieroglyphs, this super sophisticated mix of pictures and symbols. Fast forward again to the Bayeux Tapestry. We're talking a 70-meter-long story told with a needle and thread, a literal epic. And that brings us all the way to comic books, which take that same exact idea and make it available to everyone. So, you see, here's the thing. It doesn't matter if it's carved in stone, sewn into fabric, or printed on a cheap piece of paper. The goal, the fundamental drive, has always been the same. Communicate a story, a sequence of events to someone else. And this brings us to a really cool idea. Seeing is actually a skill. Pictures have their own kind of grammar, their own set of rules. We just have to know how to read them. I just love this quote from Diane Arbus. It nails it. A picture isn't just a record of what was there. It's an invitation. It's asking you to wonder, to question what's happening just off screen, or what happened a second before or after. So, how do our brains actually do this? Well, a comic book panel is the perfect example. First, you spot the subject. Who are we looking at? Easy enough. Then you read the action. Okay, what are they doing? Next, you check out the emotion on their face, their body language. But here is where the absolute magic happens. Step 4. Our brains infer what's going on in the gutter, that little blank space between the panels. We automatically fill in that gap, creating motion in the passage of time. In that moment, we're not just reading the story, we're helping to create it. And this just shows how different reading images is from reading words. Text, it forces you down a single path, word after word. But an image, your eye can jump all over the place. Text is usually super explicit, but images, they're all about implied meaning. They show you just enough and trust you to figure out the rest. Okay, so let's rocket this all into the 21st century. We've traveled from cave walls to comic books. But the newest place this ancient skill is showing up is probably the last place you'd expect. It's in data. So look at this. On the left, you've got raw data, a bunch of numbers. Sure, it's accurate, but it doesn't mean anything, right? It's just noise. But on the right, you have a data story. See the difference? It has a plot. There's a struggle, an early slump. There's a resolution, a record high. By wrapping those numbers in a story, they suddenly have meaning. They become memorable. And here's the best part. You don't need to invent some new complex system. You just use the same story structure that's been working for thousands of years. Act 1, the setup. Here's how things are normally. Act 2, the conflict. Uh-oh, something changed. Here's the problem or the big insight. And Act 3, the resolution. So because of that, here's what we need to do. It is so simple and so incredibly powerful. And this simple little bar chart tells that whole 3-act story perfectly. Quarter 1, that's our setup, business as usual. Then look at quarter 2, a big dip, that's our conflict. But then, quarter 3, a huge comeback. That's the resolution. You get the entire story in, what, 2 seconds? No long report needed. So why does this work so incredibly well? Well, the reason is actually wired directly into our brains. We process visuals, get this, 60,000 times faster than we process text. 60,000 times. It's not even a fair fight. When you tell a story with pictures, you're literally speaking the brain's native language. So, after this whirlwind tour through 30,000 years of storytelling, we end up right back here, right now. And the only question left is, why should you care about any of this? Let's just boil it down real quick. First, visual storytelling is a core human language. We all get it. Second, that same exact thread connects a cave painting to a sales chart. Third, and this is so important, when you structure information like a story, people remember it. It becomes persuasive. And finally, this isn't some secret gift. Anyone, and I mean anyone, can learn this grammar of seeing and become a way better communicator. So I'll just leave you with this thought. We are swimming in an ocean of information, of data, of noise. The ability to cut through all of that and tell a clear, compelling, visual story, well, that's basically a superpower. So the only question is, what story are you going to tell?